Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to Apex Racing TV and the Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbek. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Alex Skinner, Sam Kumo operating the production tonight, and we're here for meeting 10 of the championship, the third to final meeting of this season 4. Alex, we're at an absolute endurance circuit haven here at Spa. Should be a lot of fun for these drivers as we really get into the business end of this 12 meeting season.
Yes, indeed, and of course, great to be back alongside you, Sam. Of course, wasn't here last time out at Barber, which I heard was an absolutely stellar race. So hopefully, we can get another cracking set of races here today at the circuit. The circuit, geez, God, get your words out, Alex. The circuit de Spa Francorchamps. of course, as you said, one of the haven of endurance racing. I should say the haven of GT endurance racing, because, of course, the Spa 24 hours every year. Of course, 25 hours at one stage of the calendar because of the time zone last year. But, of course, we have some GTs, and we have just not the GTs you probably were expecting around here. Of course, GTE only, so the Porsche, Corvette, BMW, Ford, who I feel very sorry for here, and, of course, the Ferrari. But as we are halfway through qualifying, Sam, it is a very familiar face at the top of the timesheets.
Yeah, Matteo Fulini, who is pretty high up in the championship order as well at the moment, at the top of qualifying. Here is the championship order. It is close. Alexei Nesov at the top, but he is not here tonight, and that has been the problem for Nesov. He has really dominated the rounds that he has attended, but he's already missed 2 rounds. They get a drop score, so you can miss 1, but if you're missing 3, as he will do after tonight, that's pretty bad. And Nesov's chances at the championship becoming very slim. Even if he did turn up for the final 2 meets of the season, it's unlikely that he will be in the hunt. So Fulini is really the championship leader. Him and Danny Lee have scored the exact same points at both of the last 2 meetings. They've been so evenly matched, and so anything could split the difference. Sven Newman had a little bit of a poor race too back at Barber, but he's still up there in 4th place. And Nicholas Laubich, perhaps the fastest out of those 4, with a little bit of catching up to do, but he is in 5th after taking a 1st and a 2nd last time out. Mick Palach probably a little bit too far back in 6th position. In the Amateur Championship, it looks like it's going to be a 2-horse race from here on in. Jensen Adjinsons and Steve Burke establishing a bit of a lead. Kevin Kitzelman still trying to stay in touch, and certainly a good evening for him. Could get him back in touch, but certainly Adjinsons of the Jensens variety and Steve Burke the favourites for those titles right there. And with a little bit of a larger grid, you know, over 30 cars out here tonight, Alex, it's a tricky balance, because of course you don't want to have a dreadful round, but with how close those championships are, 1 position, you know, could make all the difference.
Definitely indeed. We've seen it over the years in multiple forms of motorsport. 1 point, or even half a point in some cases, can seriously make or break a championship run. And, well, as we've seen, Fellini currently making sure that he does everything he needs to do to keep himself as high up in the championship standings as possible and cover off any attacks. Of course, pole by just under a 1/10 of a second. Of course, currently having a look at 2nd place crash at the moment, the Ferrari 488. A bit more at home here at the Circuit of Spa Francorchamps. As I say that, he decides to have a bit of a wiggle coming out and into the braking zone for late coming out. We'll bring our way down to Adriansons as he makes his way out of Pouilly and down, following one of the other Ferraris in the field. But say a very decently spread grid in terms of manufacturers today, Sam, which is obviously great to see as always. Yeah, you know, we've seen a bit of a flood of Porsches and such in the previous rounds, but definitely seeing a fair few more Ferraris and Corvettes and a couple of extra BMWs this time out here. So the track seemingly a bit more balanced from the majority of the cars, because of course, as we know, it is one of those staple circuits on the iRacing calendar.
Yeah, we did have 1 car swap as well. Darragh Adjinson's moving from the Porsche to the Ferrari. So maybe that's just showing the kind of the change in power between those 2 cars. As we see the track temperature there, 30 degrees Celsius, is going to get warmer and warmer as the meeting goes on. It's an Adjinsons, he's not going to improve. Look at Danny Lee there, only in 7th position, fighting for the championship, and that's not really the qualifying that Lee would want. Fulini still at the top. Crouch, who's had a couple of stellar qualifyings already this season, took pole at Montreal, up there on the front row of the grid. And Newman, the best of the core sim racing challengers, looking strong after his podium at race 1 in Barber. Further back, Thompson, we've still got, well, in fact, we're going to run out of time, because once we get to the 10 minutes, that is game over. You're not allowed to complete the lap that you start, so one disappears, and we are about to get over to the grid then for this round of the championship, and it is Matteo Fulini with a pole position, looking the championship leader, remember, or the effective championship leader. He hasn't won any of the 18 races so far this season. Plenty of podiums. this is surely his best chance yet. James Crouch starts alongside him on the front row of the grid. Then Sven Newman, Make Palach, Dean Powell with a stunning qualifying there for Powell. Great to see him up there after a really struggling season so far. That is by far his best performance so far. Nicholas Laubisch lines up in 6th place. He needs to get a couple of points. That's a poor qualifying actually for Nicholas, one of his worst of the season. So too for Danny Lee, only starting in 7th place. Then it's Jensen Adjensons going for the amateur title. He lines up in 8th alongside his teammates Kevin Kittelman. Matthias Beer rounds out the top 10. Watch out for Beer, he could be dangerous. Then it is Tom Brown, Ronald Grossman, Edon Polovina with a good qualifying there. Vin Glenn on his ARL debut. Best of luck for him, lining up in 14th. There's Tom Bingham, Darrell Adjensons, Marco Tolman, Chris Prescott, amateur championship leader Steve Burks starts down in 19th. Then it's Brent Cook, Tom Collins, John Tressida, Derek Holland, Stephen Broomfield, Dave Chadwick, Andy Thompson, Sean Simpson, Drew Becker, Chris Van Den Nesse, Brian Crone, and David Gary rounding up this 31-car field. What do we think about the draft effect? I mean, I've been racing in the Radical this week around this circuit, Alex, and the draft effect is mad. It gives you about a second and a half a lap. Do you think that maybe these front guys will be brought together a bit by the draft, or do you think it will still be possible for them to start to separate out?
It will be possible for them to separate, but of course, especially for these front guys, it will be extremely difficult to do so. We know that these guys are very, very quick on pace alone, so these guys will be looking to get as far ahead as they can as early on, so they're not potentially having any issues with the midfield guys, if anything does happen to go wrong. But of course, we know that these guys are going to be racing each other hard. We know that these guys aren't going to have long, because of course it's a very, very short race one here at Spa. And of course, 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. And actually also, another point to mention, you mentioned about Korg having a podium last time out at Barber. Well, if they keep it going, that'll be 3 tracks in a row that they'll get a podium at, because, well, they had a win at Indianapolis in race 2 and the podium at Barber last time out, and well, they might be looking for another podium here today.
Yeah, that would be some good results. They haven't necessarily been as prolific as they were back at Donington, particularly Newman, but they have had some good pace. And of course, Newman going for the championship. It's going to be a big one. The third to final meeting of the season is about to get underway, and it's Matteo Fulini who gets us underway under the green flag. He pulls away from the rest of the field immediately. The front guys all getting a fairly even launch, with Crouch able to go for the normal racing line. Dean Powell already challenging Make Palach as Newman runs a little bit wide, and that's a dreadful run there for Newman, and he might be under pressure from the Colbek Systems car just behind. The top 2 scampering away from the rest of the fielders. That's also Palach trying to keep back Nicholas Laubisch there, absolutely nose to tail over Radion for the first time in the race. But the only change in the top 8 is Powell getting past Palach, and now Powell is going to try to get past Newman as well. He's going on an absolute mission against these core sim-racing gyros. He can't quite make it as Laubisch goes for the move on his championship rival. He stays behind, and also Matthias Beer. Good start for Beer. He's trying to get past Jensen Adjensons, but has to just play second best.
Seems that everyone's made it through the first sector cleanly as well, which is always great to see. Meanwhile, I say that this round will go Beer. It's tagged around by Adrianson's Porsche. Shame to see it now. He's going to drop so far down because of how many cars are all in a line going through the corner. And we'll come back up to 4th place Powell in the Colbek Systems Porsche. Not being well hounded now by Paluf in the Corvette. Actually, he rolls off the tongue quite nicely, the Corvette number 180. Currently under pressure as well from Laubisch. Of course, we saw these guys very, very close at Indianapolis. We've seen them close again at Barber. And well, that's a nice little move for Paluf, and also a nice little move for Laubisch, but he's going to run Powell wide. Lee's going to go down inside. He might even get a move on Laubisch as the Colbek cars will swap places. Well, Powell is going even worse because you get a bad run out of Stavelot. And well, the run up to Blanchimont is going to be even worse because that allows Adriansson through. He goes wide at Blanchimont as well. That might even be a slowdown. So now Kittelman might be able to have a look as well to the outside of the bus stop. He's going to turn to the inside, but no. not going to make it work there, and that is going to be 3 places lost in a lap.
Powell was, yeah, such a fantastic start, but yeah, just lost his momentum and was seen moving down the order. Ronald Grossman is making up a place here into last source, but actually it was an excellent line there from Kissman. He is able to exit out very quick. Poor spin there for Chris Prescott. It's been a bad start for the 2 Welsh drivers, Prescott and Chester, and Prescott went off at Blanchimont, and I just wonder if he hit the wall. It was very close if he did. You can see absolutely full lock, and he did hit the wall fairly hard as well. These drivers do get a faster pair, so he'll be able to pick that faster pair up and enter back into the race and still finish. But it's far from the start he needed. Palic holding on against Laubish at the moment, and Palic is going down the order, and he nearly hits Dean Powell there as he came across. So Palic, who was up in 4th position just a moment ago, did well to get past Powell in the last lap, but he has made a mistake there, and that's done a lot of work.
Be interesting to see what happened to Powell there. He's on the inside of Laubish, and just the slightest little bit of contact there, and the car gets turned around. Be actually interesting to see that on Laubish, because again, it looks very tight, and you're never too sure how tight it actually is until it goes wrong. But it has dropped him very far down the order. We're now having a look at Kevin Kittelman, as he's now got Grossman directly behind him. He's got Brown in front, of course. It's the fight for 6th place now. And just look at how many cars are in a line. We said that the top guys will start to spread out, and well, it's been solely due to accidents, but it is now starting to become prevalent, because it is a 2.5 seconds from Powell to Adriansens. So the 2 Porsches separated by a fair gap now. But what will Kittelman be able to do, because he's right on the back of Brown's Ferrari? Slight running wide from a fair few drivers at Blanchimont, taking some liberties early on with the track limits here. And that spin we saw earlier, Sam, well, was caused by a little tag on the grass on entry, enough to unsettle the rear. And these guys got to be so careful of that, because actually there is someone else off the track as well further back. Just noticed that as well, but this looks like Adrianssen's going to try and look to the inside of La Source. Not going to be able to get it to work there, and he might even be now under pressure from Bingham, because Bingham has got a very solid run out of the hairpin to make the run down to Arouge. You're not going to be able to do anything until the straight. Of course, make their way over the top of the crest through Radion and down the Camel Straight. You've got to make sure that you've got enough top speed to be able to do anything down the Camel Straight and, you know, defend from everyone else, but you need to have enough downforce to make it through the twisty section in the middle. Not going to be able to do anything there. That Porsche not able to usurp the Ferrari's top speed. Meanwhile, further down, Becker to the inside of Thompson, the Ford GT. A bit of a lowly race, and I feel rather sorry for that Ford being the only one in this race, because it's not really that great in top speed, Sam.
It is not, and he's doing a good job at it, and might have a chance at the reverse grid pole. We've got a reverse grid of 16 for this race, I believe. He's a few places outside that. He's got Matthias Beer, who of course has had a couple of reverse grid poles so far this season. Well, he got one at Donington, and then he also started high up last time out at Barber, and that nearly got him the race win. Just fell short. Oh, as now the spin in front of him for Thompson, and Beer had nowhere to go, and they're lucky not to lose more time. Beer, though, with splits of damage, and I think he would have been backing himself to get into that top 16. That setback, and with the damage he's going to have down the straight, perhaps not going to be likely anymore. The exciting battle, though, at the moment, well, actually, there's a couple, to be fair. So you got this one, then. Cook ahead of Broomfield, and Broomfield qualified really low down, but Broomfield has been absolutely superb the last few meetings. He's got a podium, I think, a couple of meetings ago, actually. And that BMW I managed should be pretty good around this Spa circuit, so he needs to try to clear the driver ahead quick, and then, again, reverse grid pole might be his.
Indeed, he's going to go to the inside of Cook. At the bus stop, he's going to turn to the outside, which might allow Burke on the inside. It will, but of course, he's going to get a better run out of the bus stop, tailing the Porsche towards turn 1. Porsche, BMW, Porsche, Corvette. Nothing going to be done there. Tolman trying to have a look at the back of Burke as well, but nothing going to be done there. I also noticed that one of the Adriansons was having a bit of a fight. And I've also noticed that Laubish is dropping down the order as well. I'm not too sure what's going on there. If that's lag, that is indeed. So I apologise there. I'm seeing a few of those little instances happening by the looks of things. But meanwhile, down the camel straight, instantly goes to the inside to cover off the charging Burke in the BMW. And well, Burke's going to have that line and he's going to make it work. And that's Becker actually past Tolman in the meantime. So Becker makes up a place. Of course, not where he wants to be. We've seen him higher up, of course, especially in Indianapolis. But of course, he's going to be aiming to get towards that top 16 reverse grid, which of course at the moment is taken up by Collins. Paluk, for whatever reason, Sam, is down in 15th at the moment now.
Yeah, he had that spin at Lake Kuma earlier on, Paluk, and
I didn't think it dropped him that far down though.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't the worst spin in the world, was it? And yeah, still running in 15th. He's getting a few more places than that, especially for his team, because Core Sim Racing are one of the challenges for that team's championship. I might speak a little bit more about that later on. There's a Crone gets him past Tolman. Of course, Crone won back at Montreal race 2 when he got reverse grid pole or reverse grid second place. So maybe with his eyes on that once again. Newman and Laubish are extremely close at the moment. They got to within about 2/10 on my screen for a second. And Laubish with an underwhelming qualifying. I mean, this guy, when Nessov hasn't been around, he's been the man to beat. But he's left himself a fair bit to do. And also Dean Powell's just lost a place to Kevin Kisselman a little bit further down, just up the chicane. But yeah, let's see what Laubish can do here. He needs to get past Newman. These two, of course, going for the championship. It's Bulini, Newman, Laubish and Lee, all fighting for the championship. And it's only Crouch who is also there in the top 5.
Yeah, indeed, and Laubish now all over the back of the core Corvette. This is looking for that 3rd place spot. Has he got the top speed? He doesn't on that core Corvette, but he's going to be as brave on the brakes as he dares. Gets it to the inside. He's not going to make contact with the second of the core Corvettes. They're going to make it nice and clean through Lakon and up another place to top speed. It's a bit of an inverse here compared to last time out, but they'll get back to that point in a minute because we're 3 wide going into Lakon. And that is a beautiful potential double overtake from Becker. Sorry, not from Becker, from Kroon. Kroon's going to make it through. That's Broomfield trying to get on the inside of Becker on the exit on as well. Oh, it's ever so tight. It is possible there, but it's a very, very scary place to do it indeed. And back to the point I was making. Oh, never mind, because Collins has had a moment through the hairpin, which actually will then actually drop him down to 20. No, drops now to the top 20 even. So, shame for that BMW, because he was actually having a very solid race himself. But bring it back to the point I was saying about earlier, you know, it seems a bit of an opposite to Indianapolis, you know, the last, you know, high-speed track we were at. Trulini seemingly struggling with pace, you know, in top end over Laubish, and well, here it seems to be the other way around.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, maybe just a different, you know, setup change. You know, Indianapolis, I think the drivers were going in a bit blind though. They weren't sure what to do for that one. Maybe not too many sets available. So I think we saw quite a wide range of downforce levels. Lee talking about how little downforce he was taking, for example, around here. Maybe a bit more similar between the cars, but still a wide range of what you can do. Big Glenn is being overtaken by Paluch. Glenn, I'll say once again, you know, on his Apex Racing League debut, he's a pro driver, right on the cusp of being an AM driver, but we put him in the pro standings, and he's certainly backing that up, running well in 15th place, and might be starting high up for Racing 2 at the moment, but a nice gap behind him to Brent Cook. But yeah, that was Paluch just making up another place after that spin earlier on. Broomfield just going past Rebecca for 19th place, and also what is going on with Laubish and Newman, because they are ever so close. Newman, I think, is at the moment just hanging on to that 2nd place, but Laubish round the outside, he has made an absolute lovely overtake there through Lake Coombe, and he's up into 3rd position, and with 13 minutes to go, he's 3.5 seconds off the lead. Polovina, who is having his race of the season, has spun. The Austrian is round, does the wise thing at reversing before he tries to rejoin the circuit, and he's given up a lot of places. So bad news for Polovina, but great news for Nicholas Laubisch.
Yeah, indeed, beautiful side-by-side action through the Lake-Crom chicane. Although some more side-by-side action, this is Powell and also Kittelman. Well, these two we've seen side-by-side before, but side-by-side through Pullman is very, very tight indeed. And they're going to both make it through as they make their way down towards the right-hander. Both actually going to be very close again. This is just going to bring Grossman into it as well. He's trying to look at every little opportunity. He wants to get ahead of that Porsche. He definitely seems to be quicker, especially through the middle sector. We'll see what he can do as he makes his run down towards Blanchimont out of Stavolo. And he's actually got the Ferrari of Adrianson's behind him as well. So it'll be interesting to see if Adrianson's actually recovers some pace, because he's been dropping down ever so slightly. He's not been dropping down majorly, but of course it has been noted. And well, what's happened to Neumann there? Because, well, he's dropped behind Laubisch, and he's now going to drop behind the Porsche there. And I think he might have gone across the chicane because it looked like a slowdown. Hits the brakes. Car's not stopping. Car's not stopping. And across he goes. And of course, instantly having to give up the time. So we'll drop down a place behind the Colbek Porsche of Lee. He's got so much more work to do than before. And, well, that title fight is slowly starting to slip away, I feel, for him. Although, the fight that definitely isn't starting to slip away from anyone is Fulini and Crouch, because those two are nose to tail.
Yeah, this is probably close. Only one win between the two of them so far this season. Crouch winning at Montreal Race 1. As actually, we might just have to... this is very close, but the battle for 18th place. I know we're moving away from the lead, but the battle for 18th place is absolutely mega right now. There's a pack of about 6 cars, nose to tail at the moment. So super close further down the order. And of course very close to the reverse grid places as well. But yeah, there is Fulini leading the way, and yeah, here it is, Beer in 19th. Bloomfield up the inside, 145 barely getting it stopped, and even after he does get it stopped, he's almost understeering into his rival. Beer's actually got a fair decent pace at the moment, 14.3 on that last lap. It's a lot slower than the race leaders, but it is much faster than the drivers around him. Jude Becker a bit up there, did a 2:16 that last time round of it. I do think he was being overtaken. So Beer trying to recover what he can, and should be able to start pulling away from these guys. But actually, Bloomfield and Collins are two terrific drivers right behind him. 2 pro drivers, of course, who might be able to follow in his wheel tracks. But also going on, Kittelman, Grossman and Powell. There's Kittelman just actually pulling away now from Grossman, who's got past Powell all of a sudden. And Adjus as well trying to get involved. Grossman moving around a bit, and that has put him offline. And once you're in a position like this, you just know that you're going to probably be caught up Eau Rouge and Radion, because in these cars, Alex, Eau Rouge and Radion is nearly flat out.
Yeah, it is extremely tight, and that is extremely tight as well. Contact between Powell and Grossman, not the way that those two will have wanted to go about it. It just seemed like he just came across the front of the Porsche, maybe just misjudging it ever so slightly. He's now going to have Kroon to the right-hand side. Corvette and Corvette side by side through Eau Rouge. Oh no, here we go again. That's always tight. It is possible to go side by side there. I've even seen it 3 wide in GT3, Sam, but it's always scary to watch it, regardless of what cars are racing here. And well, here comes Burke having a look for that reverse grid pole. He goes to the inside. He might even get 2 in 1 as they break into Lacon. No, not going to get the second, but he's going to get the first. Splits the 2 Corvettes, and well, what could have been for Grossman has been a very, very positive outcome for Burke.
Reverse grid pole for Burke. He had a bad qualifying. He didn't have a good start really either. He's got... Oh no, and that's into the wall for Grossman. Oh no. Well, the man, he managed to get 2nd place last week at... well, he was leading for most of race 2 back at Barber. But he's made a couple of mistakes very close to one another, and well, should be able to complete the race without needing a fast repair, but it'll be a frustrating day for him. And very tricky to recover a good race too when starting that low down the order. Idon Polovino, meanwhile, he was up at 12th position at one point. Plenty of mistakes for these drivers so far at this Spa circuit. Yeah, he's trying to get past Marco Tolman. By the way, of course, shout out to our sponsor for this series, the guys who make this series as professional as it is, Colbek Systems, who, of course, we've got a couple of drivers racing for them, Daniel Lee and Dean Powell, of course. Colbek, an IT reseller, working with IT managers and departments all across the UK to find savings on Google Workspace and Office 365, Altaro, pretty much everything that runs your business IT. So if you go over to colbek.co.uk/iRacing, then you can go see what discounts you can get if that is your department of business. And also you can vote for your driver of the day, so just visit colbek.co.uk/iRacing, and there'll be a link in the description, and you can vote for your favourite driver, or probably more likely the driver who you feel has performed the best so far this evening. Danny Lee at the moment a little bit lacking on that, but still 4th position at the moment, about 4 seconds off the race lead, as Dean Powell's just got past Vin Glenn. Powell's been very odd in this race, I think. He qualified superbly, but it seems like kind of Powell has one step forwards, has a really good lap, and then he makes a mistake and kind of loses a couple of positions. He's down into 12th position now behind Bingham, and yeah, struggling to keep Glenn behind as well.
Yeah, of course, he'd be a bit higher up, but of course had that contact with Grossman as well. Meanwhile, Paulus, who's lost place to Kittelman, and was things not going well for the German there. But yeah, Paul has been a bit of a misnomer, I think, in terms of this race. He's sort of been there or thereabouts, and well, as you mentioned, mistakes. He's just made one there, slightly wide, a bit too deep, and it's going to drop him back into the clutches of Glenn, who he literally gapped about half a lap ago. So, you know, things, I think, potentially nursing damage on that Porsche now because of the contact with the Corvette as well. We know that the GT cars are relatively sensitive to suspension damage, especially if they do get a decent hit on those corners. Now, remember the big case of that, especially in real life, being the Ferrari 458 when that was released. One little bit of contact from the suspension would basically shatter itself and have a high-speed accident. The big one was actually at Sebring 12 hours that year. Meanwhile, back to Spa, and Chris van der Nesse on the back of Broomfield. Going to try and have a look to the inside of the bus stop. Not going to work there, and got Collins, Tolman and Polovina behind, and I just saw Collins go pretty deep there. He's going to get away with it because Tolman basically followed him through. But those three are... What was that as well? Oh yeah, fight for the lead. Sorry, yes. Crouch to the outside of Fulini into Lecom. This is the best chance that Crouch is going to get. They're going to give each other room. This is how you do it, boys. Side by side. Through the exit. Run down the hill now as we start the descent towards No Name and Pouon. And he's got him in the braking zone.
What a move from James Crouch and Fulini, who will be leading the championship after this race. Another chance at a race win seems to be ailing him at the moment. But look at Laubish as well. That little bit of fighting has brought him right into the mix. And we've still got a couple more laps to go after this one. So it's going to be a tight end to this race. And Laubish could be the victor after starting down in 6th position. Still, Fulini could be the victor. Staying in the draft, it's much easier to overtake around here than it was at Barber last time out. So if he can just stay close around this part of the circuit, then he really should be able to open the taps and to use that Porsche power to go for the move once again. Actually, that's a pretty good run for him. Just pick up the draft. It's not quite easy flat out the Blanchimont. You don't really pick up the draft necessarily, but he might still fancy his chance, especially if he is willing to pick up the 1X on the outside. All 4 wheels off the circuit there. It's not close enough for the move into the chicane. And Ferrari may well be the superior car down the straight, but Fulini is staying absolutely as close as he can through the corners.
Yeah, and that's all he needs to do. And of course, if these guys tangle, look at the back of shot. You can see Lee, Neumann, Adriansen, and Kissel, and Brown, sorry, extremely close to these guys. So it is still very possible. Although, Fulini having a little look there as they make the run down past the GT3 pit lane and down through a Rouge. The Porsche is going to be slightly better up here, better traction than the Ferrari. And down the straight, this is where the Ferrari will have the best advantage, just able to stretch its legs. Slightly higher top end than the Porsche. But of course, this is now where Fulini will have that advantage through Lecomte. And Laubish is looking on. I think he's hanging back a bit here, Sam, knowing that these two may come together, may get a bit dicey, especially with how late in the race this is.
Yeah,
he knows that, you know, if he gets too close, he might get caught up in it.
Yeah, that was Laubish's weakest lap for a little while. His best lap is an 11.7, just a 12.4. So yeah, either made a mistake or as you say, maybe just hanging back and waiting for these guys to battle. Now he's starting to close in, and it was interesting how Fulini was getting nothing, was he, down the straights? I mean, he's got this Ferrari punching a hole in the air just in front of him, and he's absolutely getting nothing. So clearly that Ferrari is faster down the straights, and well, how on earth are you meant to be able to take around the corners? That is near impossible to do around this circuit. As Fulini track extending, they will get 3 penalty points for every 10 instants they get. So Fulini needs to be careful of that, but for the race win, you get an extra 7 points, I believe, and that is the points that he will be concerned about at the moment. He runs wide there. That's another 1x, and Laubish is getting dangerously close. We're going to have one more lap to go at the line, and Fulini, if anything, may have to pay attention to the car behind of Laubish. We're not sure how fast Laubish is down the straights, but he is looking very dangerous into the source. Can he go for the move? 2 of the championship leaders going almost side by side. Fulini has to go defensive, and Laubish turns in very late and, well, has lost a tenth or 2 there, Alex.
Yeah, I think Fulini's now going, right, Crouch, you know what? You can have this one. I'm not going to fight you, because he knows which fight he has got to win, and that is the fight with Laubish. He knows he cannot afford to lose any points to the German, even though it is, you know, a fair margin in the championship. Not much, but a fair enough margin. He doesn't want to risk losing any, especially with how few rounds are left in this championship. They have got traffic up the road, but I don't think that Porsche will be too much of a problem to make their way out of Lecomte down the hill. It is going to be extremely tense as we make our way towards the middle part of the second sector. And Fulini has definitely got a better setup for the mid part of the lap. You can see perhaps struggling slightly just through no name, but Laubish is so much more confident. He has really, really pulled up to the back of the Italian. And he's going to do it even further through Pouon, because it is getting even closer on board now with the Italian. Sorry, on board with the German, sorry. Laubish. God, I'm gonna be struck for saying that one if I'm not too careful, getting the 2 nations mixed up. They make their way out and towards Stavolo. He knows this will be his final chance into the bus stop. So it's a case of who fights who gets the better run. Well, it seems that the extension comes through Fulini a bit more. Porsche can see these 3 behind, goes, yeah, no, I'm not getting involved here, but Sam, these 3 are going to be extremely close.
Yeah, Laubish is the one gaining some time at the moment, flat out the Blanchiment for the final time. Fulini feels the need to go defensive. Crouch is surely going to win this one, but he locks up. Is there any contact between these 3? Laubish down the inside. There's contact, and Fulini, the former race leader, is going to chop down. But out to the lead, it's James Crouch for his 2nd race win of the season, who is going to win out of Lee and Fulini. It is Fulini who crucially beats Lee there. That is absolutely fundamental for Fulini. He loses out to Laubish and will be heartbroken with that. Vin, Glenn, I wonder if he's going... No, he's run out of fuel.
He's out of fuel.
Or is he trying to get the reverse grid pole? No,
he's out of fuel.
Yeah, it's failed if he's trying to do that. As there's contact with Beer right at the end. and Van der Nesse, or Broomfield, sorry, got involved. It was Van der Nesse, sorry. Broomfield involved in that one, and then Glenn won't even reach the line there on his debut, under-fueling the car for the 25 minutes, and no top 10 for him, and that means that Burke got into 16th place. That's fundamental, as it's a very clumsy way to end the race for Prescott and Thompson, who's struggling to get back underway. But yeah, before that, we did have Glenn running ahead of running ahead of Burke, I believe. So him retiring means that Burke, amateur championship leader, gets a reverse grid pole rather than 17th on the grid. So absolutely wild difference right there, and one of the best race ones we've had all season. I mean, Alexei Nesov, whilst he is a terrific driver, has dominated the race ones whenever he's been around, but when he's not around, he does open up the race for the others, and we should be able to go through the final finishing order then for what is race 19 out of 24 this season. Of course, thanks to Colbek as well, we can deliver a little bit of prize money as well for the top drivers in both the professional and the amateur standings in each of the 24 races. James Crouch then wins out 1 second clear of Nicholas Lauby. She started down in 6th place. However, I'm sure that Fellini won't be happy with that last lap contact in the final chicane. Fellini finishes in 3rd place. Then was Danny Lee in 4th, Sven Newman in 5th, and Jensen Adjensens with a stunning drive to a comfortable 6th place and takes the lead of the amateur championship for the first time in a while in this season. Then it was Tom Brown, Kevin Kittelman, Make Paluch with a very good comeback, Dean Powell in 10th, there's Tom Bingham, Dare Adjensens, Brent Cook, Drew Becker, Brian Crone, Steve Burke taking a reverse grid pole, Stephen Broomfield in 17th, there's Chris van der Nesse, Matthias Beer, Tom Collins, Marco Tolman, Edon Polavina, Ronald Grossman, Dave Chadwick, John Chessida, Chris Prescott, Andy Thompson, Sean Simpson, David Gary, Vin Glenn, who ran out of fuel, and Derek Holland. Everyone scores points. That is lovely to see. I can't remember that ever happening before. Everyone finished within 3 laps of the leader, so congrats to everyone there. This broadcast, as is a few of our broadcasts on Apex Racing TV, is sponsored by Virtual Racing School. And we're going to show you a clip here of what Virtual Racing School offers. And of course, big thanks to them for sponsoring this series. So we'll be back with you in just a moment on Apex Racing TV after this short message.
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbek, and once again thanks to Virtual Racing School for helping us out on Apex Racing TV. It was an exciting end to that race, Alex. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of a grudge between those top drivers. I think James Crouch maybe won't have too many enemies, but you know, Laubish and Fellini, tensions were already high going into this meeting. I wonder if that might we might see more of that rivalry in race 2 with them starting alongside one another.
I don't think so. I think Fellini knows the mistake he made. You know, it was a clumsy final corner, I think, from everyone. Again, you know, we had the lockup you know, straight away from the leader. Then we had obviously Fellini having to then watch what was going on there, which meant he then locked up and went deep. But then, obviously, that enabled Laubish to be on the inside for the left-hander of the final corner. And Fellini probably didn't even know he was there, so just turned in. And, well, you know, was the harbinger of his own demise in that instance. So I don't think there'll be many grudges. I think they'll know it's a simple racing incident, you know, and they'll sort themselves out, get themselves back in it, and know what is at stake. Of course, Fellini, I don't think he'll be too disappointed. He's only dropped 1 place in all of that, so, you know, hasn't lost too many points at the very least. But of course, it does mean he's placed further back on the grid. But here at Spa, where anything can happen, especially with a reverse grid race like we've seen before at Indianapolis, I think it might be a bit better to be a bit further back.
Yeah, we will see. You'll be starting in 14th place for this race as the 5-minute warm-up session kind of cool down, if anything, for the judges before the 40-minute race. Both races worth the same amount of points, by the way. You know, the fact that this second race is a bit longer kind of counteracts maybe the gimmick, if you will, of the reverse grid. And so just as many points available for this second race as the first. It's Steve Burke then on pole position, and I fear like I might be going on about it, but with the running out of fuel for one of the drivers ahead, Burke suddenly launching up into 16th place could make the world of difference for the Amateur Championship. Brian Crone starts alongside him. That is the place where he started when he won back at Montreal, so watch out. Drew Becker lines up in 3rd. Then it is Brent Cook, Dara Adjensons, Tom Bingham, and Dean Powell. Mick Paluch, watch out for him from 8th place. Ken Kisselman and Tom Brown rounding out the top 10. Then it is Jensen Adjensons. Sven Newman lines up in 12th. Then it's Danny Lee, Matteo Fulini, Nicholas Laubish, and Race 1 winner James Crouch. Stephen Broomfield just missed out on the reverse grid in 17th. Behind him was Chris Van Der Nesse, Matthias Beer, Tom Collins, Marco Tolman, Edon Polavina, Ronald Grossman, David Chadwick, John Chester, Chris Prescott, Andy Thompson, Sean Simpson, Ben Glenn, David Gowrie, and Derek Holland. And Chris Van Der Nesse. Van Der Nesse not taking the grid, it seems. He did finish race 1, but at the moment not getting on the grid out here. Yeah, this is going to be a tight one here. Any favourites in your book for this race win?
You know what? I'm going to say Burke, because that BMW, we know what it is capable of. We know what Burke is capable of as well. And I think it would be a bit ridiculous to not, to count him out.
Would be, I think, the first ever amateur overall winner in Apex Racing League GT history. We've had about 100 races, so it would be a big milestone if Burke could do that at Big Boys Championship. He is at the right place though. He is on pole position and he sets us away. 40 minutes of action for race 20 of the season. Crone and Becker alongside, they are teammates, but they're not really helping each other out as they're leaving each other a lot of room into the source for the first time as Burke in the Team Lizard machine is able to sprint away. Becker then does make up that move. Crouch running very wide just in the background. You can see the green and black Ferrari getting very wide through the source. Further up though, Powell with a strong start, up 2 places, poor start for Prince Cook as they have to deal with the cold tyres over Radion for the first time. The two Indy Autosports drivers trying to give each other a bit of a draft in second, third, as Cook has picked up a slowdown there and he will drop way down the order. There is one of the core sim racing drivers just powering ahead. That's Mick Paluch with a strong start, and also Bingham and Kittelman alongside. That's Kittelman just about moving ahead, and now his teammate Tom Brown also goes ahead. Cook making more contact now with
Fulini's round.
And Fulini has had a little bit of a setback there. He's down to 17th.
Yeah, Fulini and Laubish were literally nose to tail going into late comp. I don't know what happened, but on the exit, I believe maybe a spin or maybe being shoved out wide by someone or something there for Fulini. Not too sure. I didn't actually catch what happened there, and I'm sure our amazing man, Samueli, will catch it later on. But, oh, big smash to the back as well. Not too sure who that is. I believe that is Polavina as well.
And Tolman.
And, oh, round is Laubish. Laubish is round. What is going on for the championship leaders today?
this was with one of the Adjinsons. It must have been Dara.
Oh, I can already see what's going to happen. The Ferrari locks up, out wide, and then heavy hit up the back from the Porsche.
The Autosport having something against Nicholas Laubich right there. I think that must have been, was it Jensen's Adjinsons then making that contact, I think. So poor start for, dreadful start for Jensen's. After a really good race one. Oh, we got a BMW in the middle of the circuit. Can everyone avoid? Good job at reversing there. That was Dave Chadwick. As into the wall goes Brown, who had a very strong start. He was up into the top 10, was Tom Brown there. And also, just in the background, that was it Collins or someone going base? Like, Brown's trying to get to the pits, but there's lots of drivers going around him. And that is Collins. Right behind, and Polovina's had an off for the second time, or maybe just making a beeline for the pit entry. So lots of drivers trying to take their cars back for the faster pit.
Polovina's just taking the 94 layout. Sam, I don't know what you're on about. Although meanwhile up the front, well, it seems that Becker has bested Burke around the outside of Lecon. Beautiful move for the 234 Indy Autosport Porsche, and well, you can see that Kroon isn't too far back either, but Becker goes through, pulls the gap, and Burke is going to be looking at the rear end of that Porsche and going, well, I tried. He still has all of the chances to make it back. Of course, all of the guys that were up the front last race still nowhere near these guys. I think the closest actually is Paulus, who's in 6th. Actually, I'll take that back, sorry. Powell is in 5th at the moment, so these two very, very close indeed. Stuck behind the Ferrari of Adriansons. The easiest way to actually tell the two Adriansons apart now, Sam, is the fact they're in different cars this time out here at Spa. But meanwhile, the second of the Indy Autosports cars out of the S section and into Stabilo. Make his way out onto the run down to Lecomte, and we'll have Powell and Paulus not too far away either, although Powell, little bit of a wiggle on the exit there, it seemed. Might allow those two, him and Kittelman, to close in. And it is actually going to indeed. Through Blanchimont for the second time of asking. And these guys are going to make it through nice and cleanly as they head towards the bus stop.
Oh, look at Powell. He's barely got any space up the inside there. Runs a bit wide. Good driving there from Palak to take advantage, and Palak is past. Oh, contact though. Can Palak keep it in a straight line? He does. And, helping out there, Powell's teammate, Daniel Lee, who might try to get past one of the Indy Autosports drivers whilst he's at it. Almost contact into the source as well. Lee with the fastest lap of the race there, up there in 7th place. Could he win this race with his championship contenders having problems? Bulini down in 14th. Newman with Newman's not doing bad in 9th, but Lee has overtaken Newman since the race. He did start behind, so it is all Daniel Lee at the moment, and of course Nicholas Laubich having a dreadful start as well. Here comes Lee. He will get past Kittelman. Kittelman too experienced to fight this one. As I say that, he fights it a little bit. Are losing each other a lot of time here, and Paddock is trying to make up for that issue he had just before with Dean Powell. It is really anyone's game. I have to say maybe Lee the favourite, but Becker is looking strong out in the lead. It's 1.3 seconds clear.
Yeah, indeed. Still not too sure on what Powell was really doing out of the final corner. He had the room on the right and decided to, sort of drive into the side of Paulus, who gave him plenty of room. So, we were talking about grudges before before the race, Sam, and I think one has just been created on the end of lap 2, but we'll see what the Core Sim Racing driver can do. We know the car has got the pace, so we know he can get back up there. And of course, he's now just got to find his way past Kittelman, and of course, hopefully he remembers which Colbek Porsche is the right Colbek Porsche, so that he doesn't race the one that didn't do anything wrong in his books too hard. But of course, we know these guys will race each other fair regardless. But of course, meanwhile, Burke is under pressure from Kroon now, and that's for 2nd place, of course, the Pro Corvette. Having a look at the BMW, and we know that these guys are very experienced in their own right. He looks to the rear end, and of course we know the Corvette's a bit better on the exit. Burke goes deep into the bus stop, Kroon around the outside. It's actually going to allow Andrew Janssens to maybe have a look as well, because the Corvette doesn't get that great of an exit. It has to run extremely wide there. Lee and Powell are going to be licking their lips. A little bit defensive last minute there by Burke. Bit of a slide as well from both him and Kroon. Just going to bring these guys right back into the mix of it. And I think Beck is going to be looking in his mirrors and going, oh my God, where did this gap come from? They make their way down towards Eau Rouge. Through they go. The snake will slither up the hill here at Spa. That Ferrari is going to be looking very, very handy indeed in the slipstream. It goes instantaneously defensive because he knows that he's got the Colbek Porsches directly up his exhaust pipe. And well into the braking zone, that will be Kroon to the inside, and that will also be a bit of contact as well. I see one of the Porsches off as well, flash the headlights. Burke's not happy. Adrian's is going to go through as well. And we're now going to have Lee looking to the right-hand side of Burke. Burke going to try and get past the Ferrari, not going to work there. But we've now also got Crouch up the front as well. He's in this fight now. Kittelman trying to make his way past, but Crouch going to try and look to the outside there. These guys snake their way through. No name now. And Kroon looks in his mirrors, sees he's got a gap. And Crouch, well, looks in his mirrors, sees he has it, but he's also trying to get past Kittelman to the inside of Pouon. He's going to make that move nice and clean. And actually, Kittelman's got him past. Crouch has got him past Palach as well. And you can see, actually, not far off the back of Palach is Neumann. So Neumann's up the front of this, up the front of the field now as well. But again, this is the fight for the podium. So this is third to 10th at the moment, or within the space of a second of each other. And well, you can see that Adrian is going to be looking in his mirror and, well, probably having a bit of a, oh my God, what the hell do I do at this situation, Sam?
Yeah, a crazy lap or so. Crouch has had the lap of his life. He's gained about 6 places right there, and he's trying to get past Lee. Lee and Crouch, the two front runners, or two of the front runners in race 1, and Crouch is going to hit Burke. Can Burke get it stopped? Well, Burke's done extremely well. Crouch takes the shortcut, but that's going to be a huge slowdown. Maybe that is a bit of a curse, because Crouch has absolutely undone all of his good work there, and he'll have to drop to the back of this train, which just keeps on growing. Broomfield. Broomfield and Beer now at the back of this one. Powell, who skated across the grass at Lake Coombe on the last lap, almost going for the move on Newman right there. But can Burke get back past Dara Adriansons then? Is currently an Indy Autosports 1, 2, 3 on track. But it might not be that for too long, because Burke is going for the move and Lee is also going through, and actually Burke lets him pass Lee. He realises that Lee is faster and will just let him go there. And now Lee has got to try to get past Adjansons. These guys are now 7 seconds off Drew Becker. We've still got half an hour to go in this race, so it's a long time to go. But 7 seconds is a nice lead for the first place driver, as Lee goes up the inside of Adjansons, who wasn't letting him have that move there, but he just opened up the steering as he saw Lee go for the ambitious move, and now Lee does get past, and Burke sees this as an opportunity to also get past, trying to do something about it as well. It's Palach. Burke does get past, and you'll be delighted with that one, as Palach now goes slightly wide, and Kittelman is the one on the attack. If you're not overtaking, you are defending. So really go quite slowly through Lafaniel, kind of having to hold each other up, just stab on the brakes mid-corner. And this is going to be tasty into the chicane as the slipstream all starts again.
Yeah, and you can actually see in the background there as well, Fulini into the top 10. He is in this fight well and truly now. He's just made his way past Bingham's Bingham's Porsche. He's now going to be looking at these guys and going, oh God, have I got to get through this lot as well? But of course, it's a good fight nonetheless. As they make their way towards the bus stop, we've seen a few mistakes here and there. Hopefully none this time. And the guys will make it nice and cleanly through. Everyone snaking their way through. You can see the gaps there, actually, for first, second, and third. And Kroon only, about half a second slower than his teammate that lap. So Becker actually pulling away at the moment. I see change in the background. That's Beer and Broomfield side by side to turn 1. Don't think any change is going to be made there. No, it's not. But this is the fight all the way down to 60th, almost 70th now, Sam. So these guys are extremely close, and actually basically bringing everyone back to them with how hard they're fighting and how much they're scrapping with half an hour in this race left. And it's just insanity to think. You see Fellini in the background, they're actually trying to make a move on Powell. It's not going to work there. Meanwhile, that is Crouch and Bingham. That's Crouch obviously trying to recover from his slowdown earlier on. He's already made up 3 places since that slowdown. And that's Fellini to the inside of Powell up ahead. Not going to work there. They're both going to be tight. It's going to bring these guys even closer to the rest of the front running pack. Meanwhile, that fight for third is still extremely close in its own regard. Actually, I say that, Lee has pulled a small little gap on Burke now, so the rest of the field now seemingly starting to drop off. It seems to be Burke that's holding the field up, and, well, I don't think Adrians is doing much help either. Meanwhile, to the inside will go Paluch. He will be side by side with the 222 Ferrari. He's going to get that move done. Will Kittimer make it through as well? No, he's not going to make it through there, but it is going to allow Neumann to have a look. No move from Neumann either. But they are getting very, very feisty. Of course, faster drivers making their way through the pack. And of course, fast drivers usually ones that are a bit more aggressive because they know where they are quicker than the rest of the field. But of course, the run to Blanchimont now. We're looking at Kitterman. You can see the back of the Ferrari of Adrianson's, and, well, in his mirrors, you can see the nose of the Corvette of Neumann. And now into the bus stop chicane we will go. And I see a Powell trying to defend from a Fellini in the background, but, well, not going to have to worry too much. They make their way down the start-finish straight, and Burke is doing the best he can. He's doing a very good job indeed. I see Fellini trying to look. He's obviously got Crouch behind. It's roles reversed considering from race 1. Fellini not going to get it there. He's actually going to get the run out of there. I see Burke very wide out of turn 1 there. He's going to be very lucky that he doesn't make contact with anything or anyone. There's a run to O'Rouge. This is going to be Fellini's best chance yet. O'Rouge losing some speed, which is not the aero wash there. Just not helping the higher downforce setup, but he's going to have to go hard defensive. Meanwhile, we'll look to the front because that is Paluch side by side with Burke around the outside, and I believe the Fellini has lost the place to Crouch. No, actually, he's not. He's made the place on Powell. So into the top 9 now for Fellini. Kitterman is now going to make his way past Burke, but he's obviously got the Ferrari of Adrianson's behind. Fellini having to go defensive of Powell. And Sam is just action everywhere. I don't even know where I can get a breath.
No, it's the half of the field is in this pack, obviously, and apologies if I'm missing other battles. And of course, I recommend clicking on the live timing link in the description below, provided by SDK Gaming, if you want to see what else is going on circuit. It'll give you gaps between the drivers and all the position changes and the best lap times, the last lap times, all that stuff. Who's had to come in for a pit stop, so click on the link provided by SDK Gaming in the description. But I mean, we have to pay attention to whatever we think is the most significant, and what a meeting this has been so far. High driving standards, that's the curse I've ever heard one, but so far at least it has been very good. Now remember, Kitterman and Adrianson's are teammates, but Adrianson's, Darrell Adrianson's, who was at the lead of the Amps Championship, just not with the pace, especially in this Ferrari tonight, not feeling it right now as he has to go round the outside. That's a very impressive defensive move there from Darrell. See the Colbek car of Powell trying to get involved. Fellini's trying to make an advance as well. Fellini quickly nips up the inside. We'll have the slower line though coming out of this corner, and this is where the majority of the pack is now. It's actually spread out just in front of them as the quick guys got to the front, but these guys are still absolutely nose to tail. Now it should be Fellini with the better exit, and I think he will be able to pull ahead by the time they get into Eau Rouge. Powell down into 11th position. That is roughly, well, actually he's 4 places down from his starts. Can Fellini make any gap here over the drivers behind? I'm sure Crouch will be fancying his chance here, and there goes Crouch getting the inside line on Adrianson's. And Crouch might have a chance at Foulini. Remember, he overtook Foulini in race 1. We know that Ferrari is much quicker down the straights. He's not quick enough to go for the lead this time. And also Powell gets past as well. So it's a dreadful few corners for Darragh Adjunses, who is dropping down the order. And now he's got one of the fastest drivers on the grid, Matthias Beer, right behind him. He should fancy his chances against Bingham and Bloomfield and co, but not an easy time at the moment for the Belgian at his home race.
No, indeed. Meanwhile, Kitman makes his way past Burke as well, which now means that Burke's got Neumann behind. And, well, of all people that you want behind you, you don't really want an angry Neumann behind you because, of course, we all know what happened earlier on with, well, Powell, and then obviously Neumann having to sit behind him for about half of this, first 17 minutes of this race. So definitely going to be a very angry German. Meanwhile, that is Bingham having to go wide of the lockup, and it's going to allow Grossman through, But meanwhile, Broomfield keeping these guys pretty honest in terms of what he's doing. And just this race has been absolutely stellar. We've got a fight for second almost soon between Lee and Kroon. So Kroon, of course, going to be wanting to hold up Lee because he knows that his teammate up the road is about 6.5 seconds. And, well, he's going to want to keep it that way for his teammate. And these guys, small little gap over the car of Paluch now. Was it a 2:13.0 for Becker that last lap? What was it for Kroon and Lee? 2:13.3 and a 2:12.5. Fastest lap of the race for Lee, and he is flying half a second quicker than anyone else at least. And that is an extremely impressive lap from him. It shows why Kroon will want to keep Danny behind him for as long as possible. Meanwhile, as I take a short little breath there, the rest of the field snake their way through, but someone that isn't snaking is Lee. He goes to the inside of the Corvette, and that is going to be a job well done. Under braking now, he is through. Foulini is past Burke in the background. You can see that just on your screens, which means he's now going to be chasing down Neumann. Is Burke going to try and defend it? No, he's not. He's going to give it to him. Grossman and Broomfield side by side through Lacombe. There's going to be contact. No, just on the curb. Round goes Grossman. I think that's twice in 2 races that's happened now. Not, I believe, but it's going to drop him very far down the order. No, sorry, I take that back. It's going to be twice in 2 races for Gordon instance. Like that has happened where a car has spun and gone off at that very point at Lacombe. Meanwhile, Glenn, and that is Laubish. What is going on for Nicholas Laubish? Everything is going wrong. He's down in 20th. I mean, if you wanted to see a title slip away, this is the exact, way that it goes about. And the damage on the rear end of that car is absolutely unreal. The whole rear is lifted. The diffuser is completely scuffed beyond belief. I mean, I'd be surprised there's any rear downfalls on that car at the moment with how scuffed the rear end of that car is. But Nicholas Laubish, everything is going wrong in this race for the German. But meanwhile, everything is going right for Foulini because he's made his way up, pretty much from the back of the field. And well, there's Crouch getting past Burke through Blanchimont, the Ferrari. Pretty easy move for him, and he's now going to be looking at the back of Foulini going, right, I did it in race 1, I can do it again in race 2, because of course he knows that Foulini's going to be held up behind the Corvette of Neumann, who, for his own right, isn't much slower. Let's see what the lap times were this time by Foulini, 12.7, Neumann 12.8, Crouch 13.2. Meanwhile, that's Beer and Powell side by side, still on lockups from the both of them. Bit of argy-bargy. Rubbing is racing apparently for these guys. And that's going to allow Aaron Janssen to try and have a look as well, but they're still going to be side by side as they make their way towards Eau Rouge. Powell going to slip in, going to try and have a look at Beer. Uses as much left-hand curve as possible. He's going to get a beautiful run out of Radiant and down the straight. Does he have enough top speed in the Colbek 2-1-2-4 Porsche? And well, he's going to be side by side. Drag race to Lacombe. He's on the outside, so he's got to be very brave on the brakes and very tidy through the corner. He's going to be on the inside. There's going to be contact. He's going to force Beer into the wall on the outside. And Beer's going to rejoin across the track. Through will go Broomfield into 12th place. It might even allow the other. It might allow the Performance Link car of Bingham through. It is going to allow the Performance Link car of Bingham through. And oh my days, these guys are really starting to get a bit elbows out now halfway through this race. And these guys need to remember they've still got another 20 minutes. There's still plenty of time left. You know, just under 10, or just over 5 or 6 laps to go at least. And, you know, Fulini and Crouch have been realising this, been taking their time to pick their way through, and been really rewarding. Meanwhile, the guys that have been, you know, overly aggressive in the fights have started to drop down the field, Sam.
Yeah, they have, and yeah, keeping the car clean has been the name of the game. I mean, in terms of Laubish, his times have been all right so far in this race, but hasn't been matching Daniel Lee, which kind of indicates that perhaps he has been suffering with that damage they picked up in the early stages when he had those troubles and dropped out the order. So Laubish, who hasn't really had a bad result all season long, might be getting him up, but just finishing the race, he'll certainly still be a player at least into Sonoma and Long Beach, the 2 California rounds to round out the season. Kittelman with a wide line there, which just allows Sven Newman to get a bit close. That cost Newman and Biolini in the championship. Newman always been one step behind the championship leader so far this season, but he's been mega consistent and potentially been a form driver in the last 5 meetings or so. So you will desperately want to keep the Porsche behind. Should have a good chance at Kittelman here. 2/10 to a second behind, and you can see visually, you can see via the relative screen in the battle box in the bottom right. That is, yeah, that is really impressive actually for Newman. That'll give him good confidence for later on. They can make some more moves. He's up into 5th, and now will want to put a bit of distance between himself and his Italian championship rival. He's got Palic ahead. Just wonder if maybe Palic would slow down to let him have the extra couple of points if it did come down to that. Fulini, meanwhile, wasting absolutely no time. He is past Kittelman. And then, of course, it's Crouch behind. Such a high-quality trio of drivers. And also, we've got another berth of, or an inception of another terrific battle, because Burke has got an almighty queue behind him. He maybe the Burke train. I'm sure we can the Burke bus. That doesn't quite work, but we can think of something for that, because he's had a lot of drivers stuck behind him all day long. He's got a little bit of a gap at the moment to Dar Adjinsons, but then you'll just see them one after the other, all Salomon behind. And this one could be close. Mateus will be able to say the fastest out of this pack, but yeah, I don't really see any of these guys pulling away. I think that this might be a battle which lasts for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, indeed, and of course, it's always seemed to be Bert and Adriansons that have sort of, you know, been the bottlenecks of the field, and it's been what's brought us all these fights, so we can't complain too much, Sam. But I'm just keeping an eye on times as well. That is a very, very late lunge from Powell on the Ferrari. He's going to get tagged round by Broomfield. Can't really blame Broomfield because, you know, Powell really checked up in the middle of the corner. He's going to dive into the pit lane because, oh my word, that is a very lifted rear end on the back of that Colbek Porsche as well. Meanwhile, Bingham has now got Cook and Glenn behind him. So Glenn hopefully has put a few more litres of fuel in the tank for this one, Sam, because we don't want to see a repeat of last race. He's actually running about where he was last race as well, so he's made up a fair few places as Glenn. Good to see as always. Meanwhile, Cook trying to do his best in the Cook Racing 266 Porsche on the back. Meanwhile, that's Bear looking at Broomfield, and that's Burke and Adriansons together. Well, Bear's going to get the place, and Burke's going to keep the place. Meanwhile, Grossman makes his way past Prescott, and well, there's a familiar face there in that little fight as well, because Nicholas Laubish is on the back of these guys in the fight for 17th place. So he's back in the top 20. Is the title contender. Flash the headlights going, come on guys, let me go. I really need the championship points at this point, but well, there's no obligations for these guys to let him go. They're racing pole position, they're not a lap down, and even if they were a lap down, they don't just have to move out of his way, and it's his job to get past them regardless. And well, he's going to do the best he can. Prescott is just doing the best he can to keep him behind, and tighter line for the Porsche is very much doable. The BMW is going to run out wide, and I think we might see a little bit of a late little braking move from Laubish around the outside. Beautiful move indeed from the German on the Welshman. And now he's got his fellow countryman ahead. Although I think he's getting a bit fed up of seeing core cars in front of him at this point is Laubish. He's seen plenty of them and, well, he's going to have to see another one for, well, probably another 14 minutes left in this race. Meanwhile, a bit further up the order, Cook is on the outside because Glenn is going to make his move into the top 15. So the man doing a Vin Glenn 129 doing a very good job indeed in that Porsche, I believe, on his debut, as you said earlier, Sam. So solid job indeed. Just look ahead, you can see Burke defending from Adriansens. He'll go to the outside of turn 1. Burke will get a worse run off the corner, and Bear is there as well as they make the run down to Eau Rouge. A very, very solid run from the Indy Autosport Ferrari, the 222. He's now also under pressure from German of Bear. They're going to make their way up. We're on board with Bear in the 133 Razorholics car. They're going to be side by side. Bear can't decide which way he wants to go. Is he going to make it 3 wide? I think he's going to make it 3 wide. They are going to be 3 wide. Headed towards Les Comps. On the brakes as late as they dare, they squeeze Berg, and he's going to try it on the inside. And Adriansen's going to run it wide. He's going to have to hit the brake, which is going to check up Bear to come through. Broomfield tried to have a look at Berg. Obviously, Broomfield wants his top 10. He's having a very good second race, is Broomfield in the BMW. Meanwhile, Bear to the inside of Adriansen. He's going to get the move done. He's going to have a look as well on the exit because there is that possibility. He's going to be on the outside for No Name. No, he's not. He's not going to get it done there. They make the way down towards Coulon. Maybe we'll get a run, but I doubt he's going to make a last-minute lunge to the inside. No, thinks better of it. Is going to back off. The pole sitter slowly dropping back, but still within the top 15. So still within a very good result for the BMW of Steve Burke, Team Lizard Motorsport, number 223. And there, I think, is the other Adriansen trying to make a move on Broomfield. So the two Adriansens looking, well, pretty similar on pace and looking very close to each other in this race so far. And that's Bingham actually not far off the back of this train either. That's how much they have slowed themselves down. A bit of an update at the front as well in terms of lap times. Lee has been closing solidly by a couple of tenths a lap, and it's looking like we will have a fight for the lead towards the end of this race, but it will be very tight on time. Maybe it will be a 1 or 2 lap affair. A 12.5 actually coming in this lap from Becker, and a 12.55, only 400ths that lap. So Becker slowly starting to respond. He's saved enough. Broomfield trying to have a look at the bus stop. Not going to work, but, you know, definitely can't count out the German. Really doing a solid job indeed, making up all the places he has. And you can just see this train stretching all the way back to Prescott now. This is a fight for P9 back to P19. So 10 cars in this train now. I think we definitely do have our Jarno Trullies here, Sam. And I think, well, the nationalities are a bit different every single lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Burke and Jensen Adjensens going for the championship between the two of them. So the fact that they're so close to one another on circuit and getting imminently closer as well is certainly significant, because Adjensens up into 12. Then these guys were so far between each other at the start of the race. I mean, Jensen's had a poor start. He started all right in 13th place, but I think he was outside the top 20 after lap 1, and that was back when Burke was leading the race. Since then, though, Jensen's has been much faster. Burke has done a good job at trying to hold back the pro drivers. Eventually, they have all got past him, but he's kept his car clean, and now they've got a proper fight. Burke desperately needs to try to beat Jensen Adjensens after Jensen's fantastic race 1. But there's a couple of other Indy Autosports drivers, of course. Dara, his brother, is probably going to do everything he can to help, as Dara's a little bit slow there. And yeah, all these guys quite far off the pace. You know, leaders doing 212s. These guys in the 215s, 216s, is going very defensive in corners that you shouldn't really be able to overtake anyway. There is a little bit of team games at the moment, as we've got John Tressida in the middle of the circuit, and just Vandenesse and Chadwick quickly making their way past. But feeling the need to get past Adjensens, I think he's already gotten past him a couple of times in this race. but he's going to try to do it one more time. He's weaving every which way, and now we have got the 2 championship contenders alongside, but it's wide for Jensen's Adjuncers. He's going to have a rubbish run out of the chicane, and that was a bit of an unforced error, and now he's got to look behind rather than look ahead.
Yeah, indeed, and there is Brumfield trying to have a look at Andriansen. Not going to make it work there. Might get a run out of the hairpin, but we know Porsche is very good out of the source. It's one of those corners where you try to switch back, but it's not have been possible with how wide the exit actually is. It's even in F1 cars, you know, you struggle with that. So it's, you know, it's even worse than the GT car, really. Up by Rouge they go for the 15th time of asking. Nothing really to be done there for any of these guys. Pretty much sat line astern. Don't think Bingham's got the top speed to challenge the BMW. No, he hasn't. Meanwhile, in the background, you can actually see Laubish and Grossman. Actually, that's Laubish that's got him past Grossman. So Grossman trying to fight back on Laubish. And Laubish, again, damage limitation for both of these guys, but even more so for Nicholas and the 118 Urano Esports Porsche. Doing the best that he can. Meanwhile, in the fight for 3rd place, it's Kroon, Neumann, Paluch and Fulini. And then a bit further back, it's Crouch and Kilman. It's 3 Corvettes, a couple of Porsches and the Ferrari. And these guys, you know, if you wanted to see any more manufacturers in this, you'd have to go and ask the BMW boys to, you know, maybe close up a bit. But, you know, Kroon has done a really, really stellar job, actually, to be where he is. Started on the front row and, well, he's only lost 1 place in total out of, you know, the whole 33 minutes of 40 that we've run, Sam. And it's extremely impressive to see. But, of course, needs must for Sven Neumann, and Paluch, of course, did actually let Neumann through, so you were right in your assumption there. They did swap places. But Kroon trying to have a look, and Kroon, little error there, drops it deep, and into the pits comes Fulini. Now, why is Fulini in the pit lane?
Could that be because of the incidents, I wonder? I'm having a quick look now. Watching my there are a few drivers with over 16. I think he's got 19 incidents, does Fulini. So I think he's picked up the 16, and yeah, this will just be a drive-through for him. So what an error! Is he even going to be ahead of Laubish? You'll cut turn 1, of course, which is a help. But he's right back into this mix, and also he's run wide there. I wonder if that's going to be another penalty for crossing the pit exit line. And Fulini, who's been so consistent, all top 10 so far this season, I believe, is all of a sudden down into 13th place and got a lot of work to do. He is just ahead of the majority of that pack, so he might be all right from those drivers, but what a fundamental mistake. And Daniel Lee out in the lead is on course for the championship lead.
Well, that as well, because of course, well, penalty points will come into effect as well. We know that he's, you know, above 17, so, well, you know, depending on how much above 17 he is, but at the end, you know, at the end of this race, Sam, he's looking at maybe even 6 penalty points, because you said it's 3 per 10, so if he manages to hit 20, well, that's going to be 6 penalty points on, and I think Lee, knowing that, is going to be smiling and grinning, knowing that all he's got to do is basically hold his place, and he's going to have the championship lead with, you know, with a couple rounds to go. And speaking of a couple rounds to go, we've only got a couple rounds of this circuit left because the leaders headed their way towards Blanchemont. That gap, only 3 seconds now. It's impressive how close that gap has actually gotten. I don't know if Lee will have enough time. I think he might not even be trying anymore. I think he knows that he's got this summed up. So for the first time in history, we might see an AM driver winning overall. And I mean, I'm not going to be too upset about that. I'm going to be smiling if that does happen indeed. Of all tracks for it to happen, it happens at Spa. Meanwhile, Paluch, the second of court sim racing cars, trying to make his way into the top 4. Fastest lap for Lee, 5 tenths faster at 2:12.3. And actually, it's going to make it three podiums in 3 rounds for Core as well, as Neumann's on the podium. Fulini back past Brumfield as well, so he's back into 12th. Although on the exit of turn 1, the slipstream is a needs must for Paluch. Is he going to have a look to the inside of Eau Rouge? No, he's not. He knows that he's got Crouch behind that's going to jump at any opportunity. And the Ferrari is going to maybe jump at an opportunity here because he got a very good run up the hill. and Paluch knows this. He's going to have to go defensive. The Ferrari of Crouch is going to follow. Will he make it through? Or he's going to go to the middle. This is going to be very tight indeed as they break towards Lake On. Crouch is going to back out of it there because he knows that the Corvette is going to have to wash slightly wide. And that's Kitterman. Kitterman's having the race of his life here today. He's been involved in fights all day, kept it clean, and well, has managed to make the most of it. Core looking very, very solid to take home some very, very solid points indeed. Main team running very, very solid indeed. And Crouch, well, he's looking at the back of that yellow Corvette of Kroon and going, right, well, I have two options. Option one is let the Corvette in front of me run wide and take it through, and that's going to be an option one that he's going to pick because he's going to go through and into the top 5. Well, that's as long as he can make it work around the outside here. It's going to be tight indeed. It's going to switch to the inside. Kroon, though, holding his own. Very, very solid driving indeed from the Brit. He's actually going to hold it on the inside of Stamina. He might actually hold this place all the way up into Blanchimont here. It's going to mean that Crouch is going to have to run wide if he wants a decent run. It's also going to allow Kitterman to have a look. And if Kroon makes his work on the outside, no, he's going to back out of it here, but it's going to allow Kitterman to have a look. Kitterman to the inside of Blanchimont, and yeah, Kroon's just going to go, nah, you guys take this. I don't want any part of it. He's going to drop back immediately. So, Kitterman, game on for the top 5 for the German. And 3/10 taken out again of the lead by Lee. It's getting closer, but, well, I think this is the final lap, I believe, Sam, with how long is left in this race. So, Drew Becker, you have 2.7 seconds there or thereabouts. You can see Lee in your mirrors. Look ahead, keep it focused, and you, sir, have made history.
Yeah, it would be a huge deal for Becker, who's been in fantastic form throughout the season. Motegi, I recall in particular. He was top of the amateur drivers, was Becker, you know, long-time driver in this series. And of course, it was his teammate, Grant Crone, who got the first ever win for Indy Autosports earlier on in the season. This would be a mighty one as well. I mean, Lee closing in. We will have one more lap to go after this one. But even at the rate that Lee's been catching, which is 4 to 5 tenths per lap, probably won't be enough. But hang on for as many places as he can. He's already lost out to Fulini, as Laubish is also trying to get past the Centurion racing driver of Broomfield. Can't make it. Look at Glenn as well, quickly catching up to these guys. He gains about a second right there. Laubish using the grip of the Porsche to his advantage. Has to stay behind, and we'll have chances later on in the lap. As here is Becker, 34 seconds to go. Yeah, we should be able to force an extra lap by 5 to 10 seconds or so. Gap to Lee, just over 2 seconds. Newman also saying a superb lap. Purple lap, it came up on our screen. Lee was a little bit faster himself, actually, but did pick up an off-track. And yeah, down into the last 15 seconds. If we do go the extra lap, it might cause some problems for the drivers. As here comes Becker. We've got 6, 5, 4, and it is a white flag instead. So we will just force the other one. It's a little bit closer than I thought it would be, which maybe gives some hope for Danny Lee in second place. 7 tenths of a second faster that last time round. But as long as Becker keeps on doing what he's doing, and that will be plenty enough for him. Atkinson's and Pulini, by the way, super duper close, and that is Pulini just getting ahead. No, Pulini not having it his own way, similar to Barber when he was struggling to get past one of the Indy Autosports driver, Minions, Atkinson's on that occasion, and also Nicholas Laubish still trying to move up place. He actually lost out to Glenn there, so Laubish really having a turbulent race.
But to make your stamp on a series as round, you go just about to compliment and just say how to stamp your name on the series, fight with one of the championship contenders and come out on top. Oh, Glenn, just a slight little bit of contact and it just spins the Porsche around. It's so easy to do, but meanwhile, Dara Andriansen's now fighting with Fulini. Fulini to the left, Andriansen's to the right. Or to the left of screen, to the right of your picture as well. And through will go the Italian. Go on, the Belgian. He's now got, well, the other addresses to get past as well in all that. What does surprise me is that Becker didn't actually slow down. He had 2 seconds in hand. He really could have forced that checkered flag, but no, he decided to force a white. Maybe hoping that Lee, had underfueled the car or, some form. But meanwhile, Steve Burke has now got Stephen Broomfield. Very, very close indeed. Broomfield wants that 12th place. He's trying to look every which way. But Sam, as they come through Blanchimont, I think we've got some history to write in the history books here, the Apex Racing League GT Series.
Yeah, as far as I can recall at least, never has an amateur driver taken a race win in this series. We've had 100 odd races, but Drew Becker is going to break that chain because he comes to the line to win race 2 at Spa. It is a spectacular win and one of the biggest surprises in the series. Lee takes the lead of the overall championship with 2nd place, and it's Sven Newman. Didn't start from pole position, and it's a lot easier said than done, but that was just perfect. He made the move early on, like I said, and then his pace was just sublime to hold on to the win.
Yeah, indeed. It's all you need to do, especially here at Spa. Keep it clean, keep it consistent, keep it out of trouble. And, well, that's all he did. And, well, you can see it paid off for him. And what I did like at the end there was Lee just pulling up alongside him. The typical race driver sort of thumbs up and, yeah, well done, mate. You did very, very well indeed. And very happy Neumann as well. Again, caught, making it 3 rounds in a row on the podium in the Barber and here at Spa. So what's been a relatively quiet season for that core team has suddenly started to pick up towards the end. It seems that all the tracks are suddenly starting to suit that Corvette sound. But what a set of races we've had here at Spa today. Of course, not always the cleanest, but my God, what an action-packed towards the end of the season race.
Yeah, and of course, Core with the chance at the overall championship as well, and with Alexei Nesov not around for this round, and with Laubish not doing well, really the big favourites for that title. It's Drew Becker who wins out. Will be helping Indy Autosport White's chance actually of the amateur championship as well. But it's Becker on top, and I look forward to having a chat with him in just a moment. Danny Lee finishing in 2nd place. Then it was Sven Newman very much by himself in 3rd. Mick Palach was in 4th. Then it was James Crouch who picks up that slowdown. What could have been for Crouch? Remember, he was right with Lee at one point. Had superb pace, but that slowdown really halted his progress. Then it was Kevin Kitzelman, Brian Krohn, Matthias Beer, Jensen Adriansons taking the lead of the amateur championship. Matteo Fulini with probably his worst race of the season in 10th. Dan Adriansons was in 11th. There was Nicholas Laubish, Brent Cook, Ronald Grossman, Tom Bingham, Chris Prescott, Vin Glenn, Derek Holland, Chris Van der Nesse, Tom Collins, Dave Chadwick, Steve Burke with a really bad race. Not quite sure what happened to Burke actually right at the end of that one, but yeah, absolutely dreadful it ended up for him in 22nd place. Michael Tolman was in 23rd, then it was Stephen Broomfield, Dean Powell, Andy Thompson, and David Gary. Sean Simpson was 2 laps down, and also Edon Polavina and John Chessiter and Tom Brown did not finish. In fact, thinking back to it, of course, Burke did cross the line, so Burke must have picked up an incident on his last lap, which will give you a post-race penalty, basically to equate for a drive-through penalty. And yeah, so that was the problem for him. By the way, Fulini got 18 incidents in that race. We had Burke picking up 18, so just over the limit. And also Dean Powell picked up 25. David Gary as well picked up 21, and Stephen Broomfield with 23. So that was a big problem for the drivers, as you would expect in a 40-minute race around Spa. We will have a chat with some of our judges. We've already got the top 2 in the second race, but I want to have a chat with Drew Becker, who joins us now in the commentary box. Drew, what a win. I'm thinking of Boris Becker puns. I can't think of any. I've been dropping my game this season. But by my count, and I'm not sure on this one, maybe this is related to Boris Becker, maybe you're a record setter, because I believe you are the first amateur overall race winner in Apex Racing League GT history. Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, I'm stoked. I don't even know. I didn't expect to really be up here, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, you started in third place. I mean, how did the car feel in race 1? What did you feel like your pace was? Because in race 2, you were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you were only half a second a lap slower than Danny maybe, and he was the fastest driver out on circuit. I mean, were you feeling confident in race 1 as well?
So race 1, I didn't give it a qualifying time in. I ran into some, really for qualifying leading into race 1, I ran into traffic and couldn't get a good lap out. So I ended up starting from the back there, and I know Brian Kroon and I ended up fighting with Steven Brumfeld and Steve Burke for, I think, the entire race. I think we even, I can't remember the name of the corner, but the end of the Kemmel Straight, we had a four wide overtake where Brian and I and Steven and both Stevens, we all kind of just kept battling back and forth there. So from that point on, like once I was able to break out of that group, I knew I was fast. I knew I had some pace to kind of start breaking away from everybody. And then going into race 2, I just, saw the same guys in front of me and said, okay, let's put it down. Let's get it.
Were there any sweaty palms there? Because, having Danny Lee catch up to you, I mean, we didn't see any mistakes, but were you getting nervous in the car?
I was. There was a point where he was, I want to say 15 seconds back, and then he passed Brian, and then all of a sudden, 3-4 laps later, he was about 6 seconds back. So, I know, I want to say it was around halfway in the race, I went from doing 13 evens to hitting about 12 sevens, about 5-6 laps in a row. And he was pushing me really hard. Danny had me sweating the entire time completely.
Definitely. I mean, what an accomplishment to win win a race finally. And I mean, in the Autosports, I believe you guys are fairly high up in the amateur championship, if I recall correctly. So is the focus now on that for the last 2 rounds?
That's kind of been the goal. Obviously, we have, I think, we're definitely the largest team on the grid. Overall, obviously, we have 3 different teams. One of them being pro and the other 2 amateur. I know Jensen and Dara are, I think Tom's in that group as well, that are kind of crushing it right now. I think they're battling with Steve Burke's team and Performance Link, I think it is. But White's a little bit further down, but hopefully this win kind of helps us balance that out a little bit.
I'm just trying to find the standings at the moment, and it's fairly close because Team Lizard, of course, up there as well. But you guys perhaps in catching range after that very strong meeting. Who would you like to give a shout out then to, Drew?
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to everybody in Indy Autosport. Obviously, Brian Kroon and I were working pretty hard together on race 1, and then race 2 we kind of worked together a little bit. Kevin and I were practicing. Shout out to Kev. Everybody kind of showing up. So just a shout out to the team overall. Everybody's working pretty hard.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Drew, on a stunning race victory. We'll see you back in a fortnight's time.
Thank you.
Drew Becker there, winning his first race in Apex Racing League GT, and his I think that's Indy Autosports' second race win, in fact, after Brian Kroon won at Montreal. Alex, who would you like to have a chat with?
I think I'm going to bring in our title leading driver of Daniel Lee. Daniel, are you there with us, good sir?
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, that was really, really good, that.
I was going to say, first off, you must feel so relieved going into the final couple rounds knowing that you're leading the title over Fulini.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Fellini, he must be a Spa specialist because his qualifying time is so good. His race pace also pretty much level. Him and Crouch just seems to go and run off with it, and Laubish didn't have time to get him. So then I thought, yeah, it's going to be one of them. Fellini's going to take this round overall. But in race 2, what normally happens to me is race 2, I feel like I've got a lot more headwind than maybe Laubish, Fellini. They're a bit better at slicing through the pack. This one, it all just lined up. I couldn't believe the speed at which I managed to get to third and then eventually catch and kill Brian Kroon. So I was very lucky with the way the cars were placed and the respectful racing all around. Like Dara Adrianson's, we were side by side for maybe 2, 3, 4 corners. before it was sorted out. So really, really good racing.
Again, like I was about to say, if it's good racing from you guys, then it was very good racing from our side, because oh my word, it was absolutely spectacular. It was about a 10-car fight for that podium spot at the start of that race for about 5 to 10 minutes. So you can imagine what it was like from our point of view, watching about 5 cars trying to be side by side, and we're just sat here going, huh?
Yeah,
but of course for yourself, cutting through and then Fellini having issues alongside the drive-through later on in the race, and Laubish having these issues as well, taking the title. The car, that car of yours must have felt like it was on rails compared to everyone else.
It really did come on song in race 2. I always have a better race 2 than race 1. For some reason, I just get into the groove. It takes me a little while. If the race was 80 minutes long, like that enduro round we had a couple of seasons ago, I seem to get better as time goes on. So I always have a strong end to race 2, and even so, whenever I'm having a really, really good day, someone else is having an even better day. And as I said to Drew, whatever they've put in his Cheerios this morning, it was definitely classified. So what an amazing drive from him. I'm well chuffed for him, because he absolutely did nothing wrong. There was no catching him. Sometimes he was matching my lap times, which, is not what you want to read when you're looking down at your relative. So yeah, car felt good, but Drew's must have felt a lot better.
Yeah, and obviously, we move on for the final 2 rounds. How are you feeling going into those? Of course, we know that you're happy, leading the title fight going in, but just overall, how do you feel going into these final 2 rounds now?
I'm really going to need to lever the practice a lot, particularly for Sonoma. I like the track, but it's in practice, it's actually got a bit of a troubled history with me. Long Beach, another one which I'm not too keen on, so we're gonna have really 2 difficult rounds at the end. But at least for Long Beach, there is ready-made setups. I tend to favour Virtual Racing School's setup this season. For some reason, they seem to gel with me. I'm going to look for one that best matches Sonoma, because personally I can't set up a car to save my life, so they are extremely helpful for me. I'm going to be doing my level best. I always try my best, but particularly with a championship to lose, I'm going to give it 100%.
Absolutely brilliant to hear, and it will be great to see you for the final 2 rounds of the season, going for that title fight with Fellini. But before we let you go back and enjoy the celebrations of that second place, is there anyone or anyone that you'd like to thank at all?
Just congratulations to Drew again. I don't know off the top of my head if this is his first victory in ARL, but this one was particularly deserved. So well done to him. Thanks to you guys for the stream and the broadcast. I'll definitely be rewatching that to see what was happening behind us. And go to colbek.co.uk/iRacing to vote for your driver of the day. I've got somebody in mind who deserves that. Thanks to everybody involved and the grid as well.
Thank you very much, Daniel Lee. That is Daniel Lee, your title leader in the Pro Championship. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, do you want to have a chat to the man who I'm going to say has been the unluckiest in this second race? I think it might be interesting to hear his point of view from this race.
Absolutely, we'll have a chat with him now. Nicholas Laubish joins us in the commentary box. Let's talk about the positives. Nicholas, first, race 1, it wasn't the best qualifying for you, but you were storming up the order and you weren't far off the race win. Looks like a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, the qualifying really was bad for me. I wasn't able to do a good lap, and the only lap I was able to do was a very safe lap so that I don't start from the back again. Therefore, I also had to fight a lot through the field, or at least push very hard to catch Fellini and so on in the front there. And at the end, the last lap move, that was a bit unfortunate for both of us, but I can't really say anything about that. I think I was on the inside, and I also had the right to be there, but maybe I will get now the words are missing again for me. Yeah, let's just see what's getting out of that.
Absolutely. And then race 2, it wasn't so great. It seemed to start off pretty bad. I mean, what happened on that lap 1? I think I recall you being spun.
Yeah, lap 1 T1, somebody didn't brake early, so he crashed into me. Then after camera straight, I also had a little incident with Follini because there was a big traffic jam. So I already had 8 inks. And then after Le Grand, I also had an incident with Tom Brown, who missed the braking point. So I already had 14 inks by that in just half a lap. And in Blanchiment, somebody spun in front and made a very bad rejoin, and there it was 15 inks for me, so I had to drive the whole race with 0 inks for me, so it was a really hard race, but I managed to still gain some positions to not completely be out of the championship.
Yeah, that's impressive. I didn't actually realize how many that was, but yeah, you're 1 short of picking up that that drive-through. What's your kind of mindset going into the final 2 meetings? Do you think is your mindset kind of like, if I win all 4 races, then I'm probably going to win the championship, or do you think you're going to need to rely on something happening to the other drivers in the championship in order for you to win the championship?
If I will be able to win all 4 races, I think it still isn't enough if Follini always gets P2 or even Danny Lee. I'm not really sure about that. I really have to do some math to really say anything about that. But I just really have to hope that Follini doesn't really have a good result in Sonoma or even Long Beach. But I think just pace-wise, there I'm not really able to beat Follini and Lee there.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck, Nicholas, and yeah, hopefully you can get a few more race wins under your belt in the final couple of meetings. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course to Alexi, who unluckily wasn't able to drive today, and of course Urano Esports and all our sponsors, Huawei, Heineken Media, HP.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Nicholas, and yeah, best of luck in 2 weeks' time. Nicholas Laubisch there, finishing in a really good 2nd position in race 1 and then 12th position in race 2, and considering that he was on 15 instants around Spa after 1 lap, that is a good recovery not to pick up a drive-through penalty. By the way, quick shout out to a couple of our other sponsors for this series, because we haven't mentioned them so far. Apex Racing Academy, who provide 29 data packs for all sorts of cars. Single-seaters, prototypes, GTs, even rallycross cars. Really, pretty much everything is offered by Apex Racing Academy. And from a subscription, for a bronze subscription, you can get just the 1 car, and that's only for £5 a month, I believe. And then for £10 a month, you can get your hands on the setups for all of the different cars, which is pretty awesome. And you know, those data packs include setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions. It's also integrated with VRS as well, so really worth checking out apexracingac.com for more information on that. Also, thanks to SDK Gaming as well for providing our lovely overlay that you can see up on screen. You can do a bunch of customization on with SDK Gaming and use it as a really good heads-up display, or of course use it as we're using it, as a broadcasting device or as a streaming device as well. For the final couple of rounds coming up then, Alex, I really don't know how to call it. I mean, for the championship now, we have got Danny Lee on 940, Newman on 930, Follini on 923, and Laubisch on 905. I mean, whilst Laubisch has had a poor round today, that could so easily change. I mean, he might enter Long Beach as the championship leader, so it is still all to play for, I think.
Yeah, all to play for, and you know, especially with Long Beach existing, it definitely is anyone's game. You know, the circuit is very well known for throwing a spanner in the works for anyone that hopes to do well, and well, Sonoma, one of the best tracks in the United States of America, at least in my opinion. I know many people will disagree with that opinion and will be yelling at me through their screens right now. But regards, it is a very good circuit, plenty of spots to try and make something work, and especially with this field, I definitely see us having some amazing final rounds. But of course, Sam, hopefully he'll be with yourself and Patrick.
Yes. We'll see if that's returns. But of course, thank you very much once again, Alex, for filling in. And yeah, it was a good race to broadcast. You've tuned in for a couple of absolute crackers at Indianapolis, and of course here tonight at Spa. One last shout out as well, of course, to Colbek Systems Limited. Colbek, an IT reseller. You can get discounts on Google Workspace, Altair, Microsoft 365, all business IT stuff. So if that's something that you're looking to get discounts on, then visit colbek.co.uk. And of course, colbek.co.uk/iRacing is where you can vote for your driver of the day. I certainly know I am going to head over there to vote for Drew Becker, but yeah, make your opinion heard as well, because the drivers get a medal, a little bit of extra prize money as well, so it's certainly worth doing. That rounds us off then for this meeting 10 of the championship. We are going to be back in a fortnight's time for Sonoma for the penultimate meeting, and then of course Long Beach for the finale of this season 4 of the Apex Racing League GT Championship. If you've enjoyed this video, do leave a like on it, subscribe to Apex Racing TV, and also check out our social media on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. For now though, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Alex Skinner and from Sam Kume, it is a first time win for Drew Becker here at Spa. See you back in California in a fortnight's time. See you then.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.